10%. That is all I asked for. 10% more, after 8 years of giving this company everything I had. I stood there, holding the folder I had spent nights perfecting, carefully detailing my achievements, my innovations, the processes I designed that had saved this company millions of dollars. And he laughed. My CEO, Alan Mercer, leaned back in his expensive leather chair, laughter echoing against the tall glass walls of his office like sharp pins pricking every inch of my confidence. 10%. Alan chuckled, shaking his head as if I had asked him for the moon. Lana, be serious. If you want more than that, you should probably try elsewhere. The smirk on his face made my stomach tighten. We are not running a charity here. Something inside me shifted that moment. Not broke, no. Something far more dangerous. It woke. I am Lana Pierce. 33 years old. Senior process architect at Mercer Dynamics. And until that very minute, I believed in loyalty, patience, and the old saying that hard work always paid off. I was wrong. Before I continue my story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments and hit that like and subscribe button. What you are about to hear may save you years of your life. I stood silent, clutching the thick portfolio against my chest. 62 pages of documented improvements. Every late evening spent refining systems. Every weekend sacrificed fine-tuning automation processes that made our production plant faster, smoother, and far more profitable than it had ever been in the past decade. My improvements. My designs. And not once in these 8 years had anyone in that glass office offered me what I deserved. Alan smiled that rehearsed corporate smile, leaning forward now with fake sympathy softening his voice. You are good at what you do, Lana. But you are back office. The board does not even know your name. That is just business. I nodded slowly, feeling something cold settle in my chest. I understand, I said quietly, collecting the folder from his desk. My fingers trembled slightly as I turned to leave. I walked past the other executives in their glass-walled offices, men and women I had trained, guided, even covered for when their mistakes nearly cost the company major accounts. And me? After 8 years, I still sat in the corner of the 4th floor. No window, no promotion, no raise. I returned to my small, cluttered cubicle, a space that had shrunk over the years as the company restructured and optimized. Restructuring that was possible because of the very systems I created, systems that made dozens of other roles redundant. Funny, is it not? I worked myself into near invisibility. I sank into my chair, staring at the old, flickering computer monitor. On the screen, the company newsletter blinked, a featured story on how Alan Mercer's leadership revolutionized internal processes, saving millions annually. My processes. I opened the top drawer of my desk and pulled out a leather-bound notebook. A plain cover. Inside, the real treasure. My personal projects. Innovations I had sketched, built, refined over the years. On my time. On my personal laptop. In my home. Carefully documented with dates, notes, diagrams. None of this covered under Mercer Dynamics ownership because I never signed away my intellectual property outside of office hours or company resources. I flipped to the section I knew by heart. A set of predictive maintenance algorithms designed to revolutionize production chains across multiple industries. I had built these when the company refused to fund the research I wanted to pursue. They said it was unnecessary, too costly, too experimental. But they worked. They worked brilliantly. And I knew someone else who would value them. I scrolled through my phone to a contact I had ignored for years. Marcus Dean, Chief Technology Officer of Sterling Innovations, the biggest competitor Mercer Dynamics had ever faced. A man who 3 years ago had offered me a position I had politely turned down out of misplaced loyalty. His last message was still there. The offer stands anytime. Sterling needs minds like yours. I stared at it. My thumb hovered over the screen. 8 years of warnings played in my head. Do not burn bridges. Stay loyal. Be patient. And then I heard it again. Alan's laughter. I pressed the call button. Marcus Dean speaking. My voice was steady, calmer than I felt. Marcus, this is Lana Pierce. From Mercer Dynamics. I think it is time we have that conversation. A pause. Then excitement in his tone. Lana, I was starting to think you would never call. Are you free to meet this evening? 6 hours later, I sat across from him in a quiet office suite at Sterling Innovations headquarters. No restaurant. No small talk. Just business. Marcus leaned forward, eyes bright. Lana, I have followed your work for years. Every efficiency breakthrough Mercer Dynamics claimed came suspiciously close to your LinkedIn updates going dark. Your process designs on the Carter project? Groundbreaking. You made that account happen. Not Alan. I stiffened. How do you know it was me? He smiled slightly. Because Alan Mercer does not understand the technology enough to have invented any of it. And because you posted papers on predictive modeling 3 months before Mercer filed their patent application. I said nothing. My fingers rested on the leather notebook in my bag. You kept the originals, did you not? Marcus asked gently. The raw designs. The ones you made on your own time. Every page. He sat back, nodding. I will triple your salary. Director-level position. Full control of process innovation. And stock options. I blinked. Director? Executive Director, Process Development. Reporting only to me and the board. And I want those algorithms of yours. Sterling needs them to take the lead. You will have the resources Mercer refused you. A warmth spread slowly in my chest. Control. Respect. Recognition. And Mercer? I asked quietly. Marcus smiled wider. Let us just say, their biggest client, Dalton Manufacturing, has been sniffing around for better service. You bring your systems here? I guarantee that contract comes with you. Alan Mercer will never see it coming. I agreed. Quietly. Calmly. But inside, 8 years of frustration and dismissal twisted into quiet, satisfying revenge. 2 weeks later, my resignation letter landed on Alan's desk. No notice. No explanations. Just a signed envelope and an empty cubicle. By the end of that month, Dalton Manufacturing had cut ties with Mercer Dynamics and signed a full-service agreement with Sterling Innovations, thanks to my systems. Alan Mercer's face turned pale at the emergency board meeting. They lost their biggest account. Their stocks fell. Their investors panicked. And Mercer Dynamics began its slow, public collapse. And me? I sat in my new corner office. Glass walls. Sunlight. Peace. For the first time in 8 years, I was seen. I did not think you had it in you, Lana. That is what Marcus said, smiling slightly as he walked into my new office, the one with glass walls, proper lighting, and quiet respect woven into every inch of space. His voice was light, but the truth underneath was not lost on me. For 8 years, I had hidden my ambition behind patience, behind loyalty, behind waiting for a company that never meant to value me. And now here I was. But this was not the ending. Not yet. Mercer Dynamics was far from finished stumbling. I wanted to make sure they fell completely. The official news broke 2 days after Dalton Manufacturing signed with us at Sterling Innovations. Industry headlines called it a shocking contract shift that would cost Mercer Dynamics nearly 30% of its yearly revenue stream. Analysts whispered that Mercer might lose its secondary suppliers next. Investors began pulling out. Fast. Alan Mercer had called me 5 times since my resignation letter hit his desk. I had not answered once. But I did pick up when Laura Chun, their former lead systems analyst, called. Lana? Please tell me it is true. Did you really leave Mercer? Is it really over? Her voice was tight with panic. I could hear the tension in every breath. Mercer's office gossip spread fast, and the fear had begun to bloom like mold in the cracks of their walls. Yes, Laura. I am gone. And I am not coming back. A heavy silence. Then, they are in chaos. Alan's yelling. Legal is scrambling, because no one knows how to rebuild the processes you designed. Your models were never documented in full, Lana. No one else knows how to run them. I smiled faintly. I know. That is why they are mine. Laura hesitated. Then, Lana, I want out too. They passed me for promotion again last month. My team knows I run the show, but they keep putting Ryan above me. Ryan Matthews. Fresh out of business school, no technical knowledge. But his father played golf with Alan. Of course they promoted him. Come to Sterling, I said quietly. Marcus is expanding the team. I will personally make sure you get the role you deserve. Laura's breath caught. I will think about it. She would come. They all would. Mercer Dynamics was breaking from the inside now. But the real blow that still waited. 3 days later, Marcus called me into the executive conference room. There, on the long polished table, lay a file. Thick. Marked confidential. Dalton Group strategy. We have another offer, Lana, Marcus said calmly, sliding the file toward me. Dalton's CEO was so impressed by the system you built. They want us to take over their entire logistics chain. Global. This is bigger than I thought. I opened the file. The numbers made my breath catch. Alan is finished, Marcus continued. Once Dalton pulls their international contracts, Mercer will lose half their European market. No one survives that. Their share price is already down 20%. If this goes public, Mercer Dynamics will collapse before the quarter ends. I ran my fingers over the figures. Quietly, calmly, the same way Alan had run his hand dismissively over my raise request. And you're fine with that? I asked. Marcus smiled thinly. Alan made his bed. You're just pulling back the covers. I closed the file. Then let us finish this. We signed the Dalton expansion deal that afternoon. Quietly, legally, perfectly. The next morning, the industry woke to the news. Mercer's remaining investors sold their shares in panic. Stock value fell to pennies. Board members resigned. Alan Mercer himself was forced into an emergency press conference, looking pale and shaken in his overpriced suit, trying to explain the unexpected operational challenges to the market. But it was too late. Mercer Dynamics began laying off hundreds of employees by week's end. Those same employees flooded my inbox. Some I had mentored. Others I barely knew. All of them wanted a place at Sterling now. I made a list. Every name. Every skilled, ignored worker. Laura Chen was the first to sign. Then Thomas from accounting. Then Priya from operations. One by one, the quiet talent Mercer had wasted was crossing into my camp. Rebuilding careers. Giving real recognition. Offering respect that Mercer never gave. But Alan could not escape. Late one evening, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I let it ring. It rang again. And again. Finally, I answered. Lana, please. Alan's voice was strained, hollow. I could hear the defeat in it. Please, can we talk? Name your price. Come back. Help us fix this. I will give you whatever you want. Stock. Title. Money. I leaned back in my chair. The skyline glittered behind the glass. You told me to try elsewhere, I said softly. I did. It worked. Silence. You do not have to do this, he whispered. But I do, I replied, my voice calm as ever. Because you never respected what I built. And now you are paying for it. I hung up. Marcus appeared in the doorway minutes later. Was that him? I nodded. Marcus grinned. He will probably offer the board his resignation by tomorrow. Good. Mercer Dynamics is finished. But I am not. He tilted his head. What do you mean? I turned to my desk, pulling up the list of former Mercer employees asking for jobs. I am starting a new division. From the ground up. With every person they cast aside. Training, tools, support. Real respect. We will build something better than Mercer ever could. Marcus smiled. Revenge and vision. I like that. But this was no longer revenge. It was justice. People say revenge is sweet. I disagree. Revenge is silent. It does not dance or shout or announce itself with victory banners. It works like water wearing down stone, patient, steady, unstoppable. And right now, Mercer Dynamics was crumbling, inch by inch. Alan Mercer officially resigned the next morning. The news hit every business channel like a quiet bomb. Mercer steps down amid collapse fears. The headline said, But for me, it was only confirmation of what I already knew. I watched the press conference on my office monitor. Alan stood before the cameras, pale, stiff, his tie slightly crooked, a man who had lost control of his own empire. He spoke of unforeseen market shifts and unfortunate strategic missteps.
Lies.
Every word of it. He never mentioned me, never admitted the real reason, that the woman he laughed at over a 10% raise had dismantled his kingdom piece by piece. I leaned back, sipping my tea, while the world watched Mercer Dynamics collapse. But I was not finished. Lana, Marcus said as he stepped into my office later that day. We have 37 formal applications from Mercer staff. Most of them are top talent, developers, analysts, planners. The people you trained, you want them all. I nodded. Everyone. And I want them given what Mercer never gave: real pay, real titles, and control over their work. He smiled. You are serious about this new division. More than serious, I replied. I am building something better than what they destroyed. Something honest. Something strong. I named the division Nova Solutions.
Fresh.
Unclaimed. Free from Mercer's rot. And under my control. In the following weeks, Nova took shape. Laura Chun joined as head of systems engineering. Thomas from accounting became our financial director. Priya moved into logistics planning. One by one, the cast-offs from Mercer found a new home. A better home. And the results spoke for themselves. Dalton Manufacturing's production rates rose 12% under our improved systems. Shipment delays dropped by 19%. Costs fell across the board. The industry noticed. Calls started pouring in. Is this Lana Pierce? We heard what you did for Dalton. Are you taking on new clients? Ms. Pierce, we met at the Tech Logistics Conference 2 years ago. I am leading Rivos Group now. Could we discuss a consultation? The rivals that once ignored my emails were now chasing me. But not all calls were welcome. Lana, please hear me out. Alan Mercer again. His voice was hoarse, tired. Different. I lost the board. I lost the investors. My company is dying. I made mistakes. But you cannot want this to go so far. Hundreds of people will lose their jobs. Families, mortgages, lives destroyed. I stayed silent. I was wrong. About you. About everything. I see that now. You were never replaceable. You were the reason Mercer Dynamics succeeded as long as it did. Still, I said nothing. Help me, he whispered.
Please.
Let us rebuild. Together. I closed my eyes, breathing in deeply. I thought of the late nights, the missed weekends, the laughter in his office when I asked for what I deserved. No, Alan, I said softly. I have already rebuilt. Without you. And those people you are worried about? They are here. With me. At Nova. They are safe. I made sure of it.
Silence.
Goodbye, Alan. I ended the call. I did not hear from him again. But I heard from others. Sterling Innovations board called to thank me personally. Dalton's CEO offered a personal bonus for exceeding every efficiency target. Rivos Group signed a 5-year contract. In 6 months, Nova Solutions became the fastest-growing logistics consultancy in the region. But the true reward came late one Friday. I stood in the open concept office space. Glass walls, natural light, quiet hum of focused minds. Laura smiled from her desk. Thomas was joking with Priya near the coffee machine.
Happy.
Respected.
Free.
I realized something then. My revenge was never about destroying Alan. It was about proving to myself that I was never small, never invisible, never meant for the shadows of a glass tower. I was meant to lead. And this time no one would laugh. As I turned back to my desk, the next message came through, an invitation to speak at the International Logistics Summit. Keynote speaker. Topic: Redefining Power in Corporate Innovation. I smiled. My story was not over. I stood behind the stage curtain at the International Logistics Summit, holding the keynote speech in my hand. The lights dimmed. The crowd quieted. I had dreamed of this moment for years. But not like this. Not as the overlooked analyst from Mercer Dynamics, but as Lana Pierce, founder and CEO of Nova Solutions. A company built on respect, talent, and quiet revenge. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer said, please welcome Lana Pierce. The applause swelled as I stepped onto the stage. I spoke about transformation, about how talent is wasted when leaders ignore quiet skill, about building something new when the old ways fail, about Nova Solutions rising from the ashes of Mercer Dynamics. No mention of Alan Mercer. No bitterness. Just truth. When I finished, the room rose in a standing ovation. After the summit, new offers poured in. International firms, tech conglomerates, Fortune 500 giants, all wanting what Nova could give. But not all news was bright. One morning, Marcus walked into my office holding a news report, his face serious. Alan Mercer was hospitalized last night. Stress collapse. Minor stroke. He is done, Lana. Even personally. I said nothing. You did not want this, did you? I shook my head slowly.
No.
I only wanted him to learn. But some lessons come too late. Mercer Dynamics was in bankruptcy court within weeks. Its remaining assets auctioned. Its name struck from industry registries. It no longer existed. Meanwhile, Nova Solutions expanded. We opened offices in London, Singapore, and Berlin. Laura Chen became global head of systems. Thomas took over international finance. Priya led the European logistics division. Every forgotten Mercer employee who wanted a future found one here. I made sure of it. But the past was not done with me yet. One quiet evening, as I left the office, I found a letter in my mailbox. Handwritten. No return address. I knew the handwriting at once. Alan. Lana, the letter began. I was wrong. About you. About everything. I built Mercer on pride, not people. You saw what I refused to see. That value is not in power, but in trust. I have lost my company, my career, and my health. But you built something lasting. Something real. I hope you will accept this apology, not for mercy, but for truth. You were never replaceable. You were the future I was too blind to see. I folded the letter. Quietly.
Carefully.
The next morning I stood before my team. All of them.
Smiling. Busy. Happy.
This is just the start, I told them. Nova is not only a company. It is proof that real value is in people who are seen, who are trusted, who are allowed to rise. They cheered. The headlines soon followed. Lana Pierce, the woman who redefined corporate power. Nova Solutions overtakes former giant Mercer Dynamics. From rejected to respected, how one raise request sparked an industry revolution. But I did not care for fame. I cared that no one here would ever sit in a cubicle, ignored again. That was the real victory. One evening, Marcus stopped by my office as I packed up. You did it, he said softly. No, I corrected. We did. He smiled. Where to next? I glanced out the window. The city skyline stretched before me. Everywhere, I said simply. We're just getting started. And I meant it. The quiet revenge I had built was now something more. A legacy. A change the industry could not ignore. I left the office that night with no regrets. I had asked for a raise. They had laughed. But I rose higher than they ever imagined. And this time no one could ever bring me down. Success can be loud. It rings in stock prices rising, in interviews aired on global networks, in headlines splashed across magazines I once read quietly on my lunch breaks at Mercer Dynamics. But the real success, the one I worked for, was quiet. It sat in the mornings when my team arrived smiling, confident, secure. In the late nights when our offices across Berlin, Singapore, and London reported record results. In the steady, unstoppable hum of Nova Solutions becoming a world power. I never wanted to be famous. I wanted to be free. 3 years after Mercer Dynamics fell, Nova Solutions led the international logistics market. No company could match our systems, our speed, our vision. Marcus had become my closest partner. Laura, Thomas, Priya, my old Mercer colleagues, now ran entire divisions. And I finally stepped fully into what Mercer had never allowed. Global CEO. Owner. Architect. The title Mercer refused to give me was now carved on the glass wall of my top-floor office. One day, while reviewing the upcoming expansion to South America, Marcus entered holding a small, unexpected file. "Lana, look at this." He laid it on my desk. A legal notice. Mercer Dynamics bankruptcy proceedings had ended. The company, what little was left, had been bought for scraps by a minor holding firm with no future. Their patents, tech, everything worthless now. And Alan Mercer? Living quietly in a small house on the coast. No business. No influence. Forgotten. "They are gone, Lana," Marcus said softly. "Truly gone." I closed the file gently. "Let them stay forgotten," I said. "We have better things to build." Because revenge, once served, becomes irrelevant. Like dust brushed from clean glass. I focused on the future. We launched Nova Foundation that year, a program training women and underrepresented talent in technology and logistics. Free education. Real apprenticeships. Full career placement. Laura Chen led the effort herself. "I owe you this," she told me quietly when the first class graduated. "You saw what Mercer never did. And now I see it too." Our foundation became industry famous. Fortune magazine ran a cover story. Lana Pierce, from ignored to icon. How one raise request changed everything. The article told my story, but more importantly, it told Novus. How quiet voices became strong ones. How overlooked workers became leaders. How the old empire of Mercer fell because it could not imagine people like us rising. I sat alone one evening in my office, watching the city lights far below. I thought of Alan, of Mercer Dynamics, of that small office where I first asked for a simple, fair raise. How far that moment had brought me. A soft knock broke the quiet. Marcus stood in the doorway. "Ready for tomorrow?" he asked. The global board meeting. The first of its kind. All Nova offices reporting. All teams united. "Yes," I said. "Let us show them how far quiet revenge can go." He smiled. As he left, I turned back to the window. The skyline gleamed in silence. I had built something Mercer never could. A company of value. A team of strength. A legacy that would outlive me. In the end, the raise I asked for meant nothing. But knowing my worth? That changed everything. And this time no one laughed. Not anymore.